Well, 2 Toronto police officers who faced misconduct charges in the case of a missing woman from 2017 have had their charges dropped. Tess Richey's body was found by her mother, not far from where she was reported missing 4 days earlier. My next guest knew the family and was there moments after Tess's mother discovered her body. Nicki Ward was the director of the Church Wellesley Neighbourhood Association during that time. She's now an advocate and president of City Park Co-op. Nicki joins me now. When you heard this news today, what went through your mind?
Well, obviously, it's hugely disappointing to see that basic accountability doesn't appear to be happening. My first thought goes out, of course, to the Richey family, who've endured such suffering from beginning with the discovery of the body and then going on and trying to fight the good fight to try and get some goodness out of, obviously, the evil that was done to their daughter. But very disappointing.
Restorative justice is what they have said will be the outcome, that police will move forward with restorative justice with these officers. Is that a fair outcome?
No. I mean, firstly, the situation surrounding Tess Richey's death is just unbelievably tragic, that the mother has to come from Northern Ontario on a bus to do the job that we pay City of Toronto police officers to do. The police officers in question had the geolocation because of the Uber call that Tess made shortly before she died. So they knew within a few hundred meters where she was last seen, and they did not get out of the car to investigate. I mean, we're not even talking about a lack of professionalism here. And to say that there is some restoration here, I hope there will be restoration for the family. But for our own community, how can we have trust in an organization that doesn't police itself properly?
I understand you know the family. And as we said, you were there in those difficult moments after Tess's mom found her daughter's body. I understand you've stayed in touch.
Well, yeah. It was an ordinary Wednesday. I was walking in the area as I normally did, and I saw this distressed woman handing out flyers of her then missing daughter. And I suggested, because I was also working with the 519 Community Centre, that this would be a good location. Shortly afterwards, the mother discovered the body. Later on, I tried to help where I could and came to know the family a little. I can't claim that, but a little, and tried to help where I could, as others did, of course.
How do you imagine they're dealing with this news today?
Well, I imagine after 7 years on this, they're exhausted, with good reason. They fought the good fight, from my perspective, they've done tremendous work in terms of trying to get some goodness out of what is a profoundly evil situation. So they must be exhausted after that. But 7 years on, for there to be no meaningful consequences, seems to me a miscarriage of justice.
You know, there was a real mobilization after this, but also we're talking about Alora Wells. We're talking about the time around the Bruce McArthur investigation in the village.
Yeah.
What do you think has happened over the last 7 years? Have things changed? Sadly,
they have changed for the worse. We have seen, and this is a cross-Toronto problem, it's not just in the Church Wellesley neighbourhood, but we are a sort of a village, as a community, so we do see some of these things perhaps a little before others. We've seen an increase of violence against all Torontonians, an increase of permissiveness of anti-social behaviour, and particularly in the Church Wellesley neighbourhood, we've seen a massive increase in hate-related crimes. So to talk about restoration is to miss the point entirely. The City of Toronto is not as safe as it was 7 years, and this in the context of the time when we found 4 missing and murdered people in subsequent months, April, June, August, and then November with Alora Wells. And it's not gotten better. That has to change, in my opinion.
And, you know, you've talked in the past about institutional memory. How do cases like this, specifically the memory of what happened to her, but also the outcomes, how do they affect the institutional memory of a community?
Oh, well, the question was raised at the time, has the community lost confidence in the police force? And I think it would be fair to say that any community, regardless of whether it's LGBT or other, would lose confidence in a police force that doesn't do the job it's paid for. I wish things had improved. The Epstein report has come out. I provided testimony to that, but many of those much-needed changes have not happened.
So what happens next now? What do you do now as an advocate in the community? How do you move forward from this and make things better?
Well, by remaining engaged, by not losing hope that the system can be changed. There are many good community police officers in the area that do their job well and are responsive and professional. We should celebrate that. But we should also hold those who are not professional, who don't do their job, and frankly, who put other police officers at risk because of the lack of respect. We should hold them to task. I don't doubt that the Richey family has plans in the future, that this isn't the end of the road for their fight. I applaud them for the hard work they've put in already. But within our own community, there are people like myself who have not given up the fight.
Okay. Nicki Ward, thank you very much for bringing us your thoughts on this story today. It's certainly one that many people in this city do remember, and we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much.
Nicki Ward is the director of the Church Wellesley Neighbourhood Association.